Leclerc or Ferrari win the championship.
Nah,
That could top it.
Monza, Ferrari win at Monza is probably the best.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, like after 20 years and shit, like Ferrari winning a championship.
Honestly,
Yes,
there was a chance I could have been at Silverstone last year. There was a chance, but I couldn't go, and I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't.
Do you go next week?
No. I'm gonna try to see if I can find like a cheap ticket last minute. But
You're not gonna have it only on Friday, maybe.
yeah, but even still, like
It
even
cost
still,
probably like 70 quid on Friday last year.
nah, it'll be more than that.
I'm seeing Vale for 3 days, £550.
550.
Vale. He wants to sit at Vale. Come on, man.
That's what I paid for grandstand in Barcelona. No,
Yeah,
less.
That's what I paid for Eau Rouge.
Mate, if I want to go Silverstone, I want to be Maggots and Beckets. That's what I want to be.
National pit straight, 900.
Yeah, dead.
That's why I say 8K and then we go paddock pass.
Yeah, and then do what? Be in TED Talk. On TED's
Be one of those pricks on they get booze in the truck going around the track.
But like you can drink champagne and shit for free.
None of that's worth it if you're getting booed by an entire nation
I don't
for
give
like
a
4
shit.
minutes straight.
I was booing.
It's more than 4
when I was in Qatar, mate. I was booing all three of them. They didn't even do a driver's podium in Qatar, man. Fuck, I had to watch these celebrities or fucking paddock pass twats.
Woodcourt A for 700.
So if you wanna have cheap
All the dead
tickets,
corners.
listen. If you wanna cheap tickets and see celebrity, so wait when Barcelona gonna be again on a test, pre-race. Test.
No, the Barcelona test next year is gonna be no media, nothing, no fans, no media, nothing.
Next year, yeah.
Private
So
test.
it's gonna 2 or 3 years. That was the best way. Or Bahrain. Bahrain is cheap and it's quite far away.
Barcelona, the track and like visibility and shit. It's not a good track. I regret going to Barcelona
when you go
for
to
my first race.
Barcelona, you got like a lot of people everywhere. But in Bahrain, whole weekend maybe it's gonna be like 120k.
Not even. That's why I'm going Qatar again. Because
Exactly.
it's so easy, it's so simple, it's all organized.
But it's no alcohol,
The
like
facilities are so
Barcelona.
good.
But then the European races are different to the Middle Eastern ones. The vibe is a bit different.
I've no
Craziest
idea why
thing about Barcelona
has
is you
no
can have alcohol.
No, I can't have alcohol either way, so don't for me. For maybe you. But...
Plus, they probably won't let you in if you're foreign these days in Barcelona. No tourists.
That's why they moved to Madrid.
Yeah, but Madrid in the summer, you don't want to
No, yes,
see that.
Too hot.
I want to go to the Japanese Grand Prix. Like, when I was in Japan last month, I met a British guy who's been there and says awesome. But you need a car.
Hello.
What a way to do it, mate.
What's up?
What a way to win 7th World Cup. That has got to be the craziest race.
Is my game not starting?
Remember to drink, guys.
So much for all your hard work.
The drink is not working.
Congratulations
Will
to
not
the team
have
on
the
the
drink.
Constructors' Championship. Great job, man. History in the making.
My seat is already wet.
It's probably the water.
Such a proud moment for me, man.
Nah, he pissed himself.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's gonna make you sweat.
I would work myself in here.
Oh, contrary.
It's my canvas, you know?
it up, Lewis. This is what it's about. So great stuff, mate. We're going to see you up there. Get in there, Lewis. Awesome race, mate. Absolute fantastic race pace.
Thank you guys so much for all your hard work.
Hello guys.
Get in there, Lewis.
Hello.
Hello.
Graphics.
And into pit lane, please, mate. This one means a lot to us all.
Guys, please everybody check if you have your telemetry settings right, so Mike doesn't have a heart attack during the stream.
Mike isn't even here today.
Oh fuck. Well then, check it anyway. Settings. Bahrain, right?
Yep.
So, who needs an invite? Send to everyone, buddy. Good. If you're offline, I can't see you.
Can you send me one?
Who?
Ralph.
Ralph. The Mercedes. Wolfrin.
1 second.
What is your teammate?
That I don't know.
Is it not Singapore today?
Why would it be Singapore? We are doing the official calendar.
It fucking feels like Singapore.
Are you high?
You're driving the wings for Singapore, probably.
I think I'm gonna lose the amount. I'm gonna lose my weight in sweat, like Singapore. I'm gonna go get a
Yeah.
nice bath after the race.
You should use like these sweatsuits, these plastic suits. You know which ones?
Latex.
No, no.
Can't help.
The fetish guy, man. Or like these sweatsuits that catches your sweat during exercise.
Why would you need to collect your own sweat?
Because you're like in that plastic suit, and so you sweat more and you lose more weight. And then you
With
would
trash
probably
bag.
lose like Singapore. Yeah, you can use a trash bag as well. Go for it, Andreas.
Dying of heat stroke, lap 12.
I'm taking my setup outside.
GDA is missing.
I will sleep in the garage again today. It's too fucking hot.
Here, Press is here, Mattia, and Tomasito, and Joe comes late like always. We just started the game, I saw. Then we have Gian Bartolomeo, Puli, Roby Luce, Albe Angelo, Stefan Ralph, Stefan.
Yeah,
said
1
he's
minute.
gonna. Yeah, he said he's gonna join.
Is your telemetry on? Make sure it's on before Mike
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
and kills you in your sleep.
I already said that, but then they said they reminded me that Mike is not streaming today.
Oh.
But then I told them to check anyway.
Roman, are you streaming then?
Frank Tank, nope.
I will turn it off on purpose.
Top G and Larson. So
Alright, lads, good luck and have fun.
yeah, good luck, have fun. You'll see when I ready up, and then you can ready up. We'll wait for GDA and Stefan.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, all
You
fine.
had very good race yesterday.
Yeah, a bit luck. No incidents. And always fast guys in front, so I can use the DRS.
Ah, so you got free DRS all the time.
Yeah, most of the time, yeah.
Nice. I don't have lucky at all, mate.
Yeah, I saw it. The qualification was not so good. I think you should head to a last step.
Should make it better, but I was like, I was thinking, should I go again, and I was thinking, it's only pre-race. Let's go start a little bit on the back, fighting with the guys. So I should take more petrol and use the same tires more. Like I done it 5 laps, but should I do like 8, maybe even 9?
Yeah, I did it with 7 laps, and then I went to the box and did one fast lap at the end. And the track was faster from lap to lap.
Yeah, you see, it was better. But race was some parts of the race was good. But basically, I have unlucky. I have 3 the same situation on the last corner of the
Yeah.
track. Once I think it Fricadilly hit the barrier, and I avoid any contact, and I go through. That was safety car or virtual safety car. But I have lucky, and then I do not have lucky on the head. Someone also spin or hit the barrier, and I don't have chance to avoid him, so I crash to him. And then again, someone spin, Kevin hit him, and then I hit Kevin. So yeah, it was that corner is very fast and you cannot escape. And EA gave me 10-second penalty because of crash to Kevin.
Yeah, it's in the 24th and also in the 25th. The penalties are
Yeah, but you can
suspicious.
you can do anything, like you follow the driver and suddenly someone crash and you go crash to him as well. It's too big speed. So like you see, I done a few mistakes myself. I'm not gonna lie, but I should if I don't have any problems, crash and penalties, I should be like P6 from P17. That was good race basically.
Yeah.
Did you see new calendar on now racing on Sunday?
Yeah.
We have 500% race.
Yeah, it was a wish from several drivers not to make full quali, but more 100% races. And yeah, I think
that's good.
it's a nice idea because it's much more strategy possible. You can play with different tires and undercuts and overcuts. Yeah.
Also, we don't have so much 100% races on different leagues, isn't it? So basically, whole season, I am on the 7 leagues, and whole seasons are maximum 1 or 2 100% races.
Yeah.
So not enough, And now we got only 1 league, and we got 5 of them. Yeah, low,
Yeah.
isn't it?
It's a bit like Ukraini. There were also more 100% races.
Yeah, man. Okay, Bahrain, here we go.
It's also
Any
not
practice?
so a bit today, 1 hour to try the
I just done it like 20 minutes.
setups.
I take extra medium.
I took several hard tires, so I try to stay on a long stint.
You got extra medium or hard?
Hard, extra hard. Because the medium, have a lot of degradation. I think, it's not easy to drive too long on the medium.
Alright, let's go. Today we have on Bahrain. Ah.
Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
good, nice lap.
Yeah, was without big mistakes.
Yeah, I did one mistake. Track limit, sector 3. Yeah, much better now. I'll finish.
Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap.
You done a mistake on sector 2?
Maybe the
Yeah, he was like slower than
hairpin is not so
to
my
hard
friend.
10. A third sector was good for you, yeah. Better than mine.
Yeah, I think it's much ERS.
Yeah, I use ERS too early. Yeah.
Last try.
P7. P8. Did you improve the last lap?
Two attempts, I think.
Yo between us. Oh, sorry, you was on
No
the
longer.
fast.
Yeah, it was the last. I did 2 warm-up laps.
Ah, okay, because I see you going first, and I'm thinking, you know, you finished. Okay, we got P9, P11. Six.
Yeah, I think points are possible. Top 10.
When I practice on Grand Prix mode, I have like 9/10 slower than now. So I don't know, is it different setups of the Grand Prix I use or something? Oh, too fast. Part 11. Someone pressed too fast, isn't it?
Yeah. Very fast.
We need to talk on the meeting about that. You can even setups quick. I think we need to look after about tires.
Yeah.
Someone is on the soft.
In Grand Prix mode, I think the red tires 4 or 5 laps, then they were much slower. And yeah, medium, I think 8 to 10 laps.
$70.
Keep an eye on the lights. The start
Good luck.
sequence will begin as soon as the grid is formed.
Yeah, good luck.
Be ready with the clutch.
Super. No! Znowu passenger. Ja pierdolę. No damage.
There was a lot of contact.
Yeah, I was on passenger. I got one track limit.
Difficult with the guys in front.
I got company on the back. Jesus! Oh my god, what the hell was that, mate? Oh, fuck! No!
Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please.
Okay, wing damage, I got impeached for hearts. 1/3 I done it. Dive bomb, then spin, unspin. Jesus, what an idiot. Ruin my race.
Unlucky again, yeah.
Exactly. I've done the reporting. Oh my god! Nikt mnie atakuje. Jebany strategii.
box. I try only one stop.
Only one stop?
Yeah. 12 laps on medium and now 17 on hard. I hope it worked.
That's a lot on medium.
Yeah, but you did better than in my tests.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
How's your tires?
You know, fine. Maybe 1%.
Kurwa mać!
have to remember these days, because there's no guarantee that they'll last forever. Enjoy them as long as they last. I love you guys.
That was lovely practice.
Yeah.
I was racing 2 laps, that's it. 27 laps practice.
Yeah. Some experiences with the tire degradation, but yeah. Afterwards.
Yeah, like you say, medium is very degradation. But hard as well is not good.
Yeah. But at least the one stop was the right strategy. If no front wing damage or something.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, P15. Jesus, that is quite far away.
Yeah, but I think it's the early box.
And look, that fella who dive bombed me, and because of him, also I spin. He's on 20 position. Stefan, DNF. Ruin my fucking race. Anyway, I'm gonna report him to, Geza. He's gonna learn something, and he's gonna have probably great penalty on the next race.
Yeah, I will check my footage too.
That was
Because
also
in the first 2 laps there were many contacts, and yeah, I think it's not all fine.
Yeah, also I was like squeezed on sandwich, I was passenger was like hit on the right, hit on the left. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? I need to check it as well. But anyway, soon we start on SFR on Wednesday.
Yeah. It's don't know.
Let me check. Is
China, I think. Oh.
Yeah, this Wednesday, China, 50%.
Yeah. Not a bad track, I think.
Not my favorite. And Imola is not my favorite. And both of this track on Now Racing, we got 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. China, Imola.
Not easy, yeah.
Grand Britain, which is I like it. Singapore, I like it. And something else. Qatar, and I like Qatar.
Yeah, Qatar is, yeah.
But that was Qatar is, it's hard to drive because you don't have
Yep.
any time to relax. Only straight line. Also, straight line, they're gonna attack you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no place to relax.
And always the track limits.
Oh yes, yes.
You have to do get into the corners very fast, but yeah, have to be careful.
And also, you know where we go? We got Monaco this season.
Uh,
It's gonna be fun. It's only
Yeah.
50%.
Maybe a bad qualification and drive from behind. Look after the others.
Africa is the best, you know, like be on their head and run away.
Well, yeah, but it is not easy to get the P1 in the qualification.
Yeah, it's not easy, yeah. I'll maybe make it like early pit stop. Early pit stop. Start on
Yeah.
the soft. Few laps, like 5, 6 laps, no, 5 laps. Go pit stop, and then take the, I don't know, medium hards, and make it laps, lap by lap, with a good pace. Yeah, I think that's good strategy. Because if you stuck behind someone who drives slow, you're gonna lose the time.
Yeah.
It's
And
nice.
also you can have another driver in the back who wants to overtake
Yeah.
with the knife between the teeth.
One mistake and you're out.
Yeah. It's complicated, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Kirby.
Yeah. I
Oh,
will
not good
finish
race.
today.
What you finish? You finish P10.
P10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. You got point.
It's
Yeah.
I'm happy with it. Yeah. But I think I will finish the evening.
Hmm.
It was hot and yeah, I'm sweaty.
Yeah, me too, mate. So have a lovely evening and see you
Yeah,
on
you too.
Wednesday. See you in China.
Yeah, I think so. We're already drove it in the MRL. So yeah, we have some experience.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Yeah. Good evening.
Bye bye. Okay, that's it, folks.